Hey everyone, I just want to discuss, some of the excuses that I see evolutionists engaging in to avoid debating Brother Nephilimfree, who I am confident would tear apart their so called evidence for evolution, or specifically common ancestry. You see, once I got them, now this guy, Steve over here, I'm going to show you in the comments. We've had a back and forth, although I don't like really to go back and forth in the comments. You see, I'm not. I don't want to waste my time in text, anyways. And it is just like my brother Nephilim Free has said. These atheists will make any excuse they have, but I am exposed that his so-called excuses will not hold up, and I'm going to show you exactly how. Now I'm going to start off with the last two comments. Now, of course, after we had this discussion, then Millie, who I believe is Fiona, but I may be wrong on that. But whoever he or she is, she sounds to me like Fiona. She uses the same kind of argumentation, and he or she is obviously an evolutionist. Starts to comment on my page as well in the middle of the discussion, saying, since Neff doesn't understand what polyploidy, gene expression, and so on and so forth, the difference between change structure and the creation of new, debating him would not be fruitful. See, this is typical. Anybody can say, see, guys, I just wanted to let you know, don't fall for these bogus statements. The moment somebody makes these excuses, it doesn't matter what it is. Don't let yourself be blinded by these statements. I don't either. See, the devil sometimes, he wants to make me fall for it too. And then I start into text and, I waste my time. But really, this is what is unfruitful. Anybody can do in text. And Brother Nephilim Free also said in text, the atheists will have enough time, of course. They can go copy paste from various journals and do all that stuff. Well, none of course, they have necessarily researched themselves, but they just find something because I used to do the same thing. You know, that's why when I was an evolutionist, the moment a creationist wanted to say something, I would be, because I remember with Brother Nephilim Free, when I was an evolutionist, I didn't want to debate Nephilim. I, of course, used the same argument. Don't want to debate him because he's dishonest anyways. So I just copy pasted from pages like talkorigins.org, right? And other evolutions websites and said, there you go, Nephilim, there you go. But this is not the way how anybody can show that they really have evidence. It's not how it works, right? And this is really what the atheists are good at, right? So I'll just wait till an atheist really has the guts to really debate in a structured debate, just like Brother Nephilim Free said. A structured debate, and as I said, I'm so confident with the atheist that I'm willing to give them 20 seconds more from my side each round. So let's say if there's 10 rounds of 3 minutes back and forward, the atheist could have 20 seconds more each round, 10 times. That's 200 seconds overall. And of course, the opening statement would have you. You can have 20 seconds or even 10% more time in the opening statement, which would be, if the opening statement is 20 minutes long, 2 full minutes more than Brother Nephilim Free. And I can guarantee you, you still lose. You see, because once I started to listen to Nephilim's arguments, I started to really focus on these arguments, taking the bias aside of who he is as a person. Because you see, in Christianity, Christ teaches that the little guy always smashes the big guys up there. See, it's no big deal. Let me just put this out. To believe what the secular scientists believe is no biggie. And I find it very ironic that even atheists will agree, quite a few, don't trust the government. Trusting the government is dangerous. But they don't seem to have any problem of trusting government funded organizations like the scientific community, the secular quote unquote scientific community. So I ask you, Mr. Steve and Mr. or Mrs. Millie, Why would you not question the scientific community and its principles? Because it's government funded. See, the scientific community is not private funded. That alone should make one suspicious of. Refuse, let me know. And then we can talk about it. Otherwise, this is chances, if you mean in the hangout, which you probably do, that is not how it works. Anybody can speak in a hangout. Same would go, of course, for Nephilimfree. So I'm not saying that you, I would not say formally that you lost, right, in Brother Nephilimfree's hangout. But I would say in a debate you would. And this is the reason why you won't chat. But this is because this is typical. This is not just you, Mr. Steve. This is countless atheists who make the same excuses over and over again. And the excuses, they range from different, in a debate, he can gish gallop. That's the most famous statement. They can gish. Well, guess what? Can't you gish gallop? If Nephilimfree, let's say you say that he can gish gallop, right? Well, you gish gallop him. You see? You got to learn the art of debate. That's the whole point. Otherwise, of course, Brother Nephilimfree's arguments will stand. Whether you think they're right or wrong, then you can get angry all you want. Because people like Brother Nephilimfree are never going to stop. They are going to go out to the public and they are going to present their arguments when the time is ripe, which is already happening, by the way. There's a lot of creationists now going inside the science communities because they are legally, of course, being barred from left and right from doing so. But despite that, they find loopholes, and rightfully so, to get what we believe is the truth across. So if you want to prevent this, you better step up. You better step up to the creationists or they will eat you alive, Mr. Steve. You see, I will just keep empowering them. You know, one day I may meet up with my brother Nephilimfree and we may go together. We would have a big team. We would go from university to university. And once we have said a few words to the students might cause a riot. We won't cause a riot. We wouldn't have to. The students themselves will turn over the tables. They will spit on their own university. They will start to flip the fingers at their professors, which of course we as Christians don't want them to do. We would rather want to say, we forgive you even if you have been sons of the devil. Let me repeat that again, Mr. Steve. We will forgive you even if you are infested from top to bottom with the devil right now. Because that's the Christian attitude. We still pray for people like you. But like I said, I mean, they'll turn against their own professors. They will be mad, and they will be justified. Because these people have either themselves being deceived, like the blind leading the blind, or they are deliberately, because of the money that they are making, right? Because everybody feels comfortable in their position, because I've now heard, oh, scientists, they don't really earn that much. If one has worked for years to establish themselves in a position of a professor, there's money, there's honor, there's dignity at stake. Obviously, people would want to protect that, even if they have to lie and go along with what the secular elites up there tell them to do. Okay? So this should be very clear. So let's look at a few excuses here that were mentioned. I just wanted to bring up a few excuses that Steve meant. Let's see here. Here it is. Please do not try to quote me as you. I have given everyone that this is the same thing. Please don't sit there tell me there's no confidence. I destroy him every time in a structured debate. No. See? That's the thing. He says that he can demonstrate common descent. I already challenged him. And I'm going to challenge you again, Steve. Go debate Nephilimfree on the fossil evidence, the supposed fossil evidence that shows the common ancestry between, let's just take the chimpanzee and the human being. Let's just make it very simple. That's it. Because you evolutionists claim that is the best evidence, along with the whale fossils, from land mammals to whales. That and humans, chimpanzees, or any of the other non-human apes, the common ancestry between them is rock solidly established by fossils. This is something that we can all look at. We don't have to go into all those details about the genetics, which evolutionists have a lot of playroom, because it's on the micro level. They can play with lenses. They can play with the substances that highlight various regions. They can play with all of it. So why would I trust that? Nobody should trust that. Okay, I would only ever trust a creationist. If an evolutionist came up to me, gave me an electron microscope and said, hey, Johnny, look under that and you will see what the DNA looks like, I will say, forget it. This electron microscope, what is it? Who is it built by? Majority of atheist secular evolutionists or majority of creationists? Most likely the answer is going to be, of course, since they came up with the as well, yeah, it's evolutionists, people who believe in evolution. And I would say, well, then it's useless. It's biased already. It's really that simple. And this is what I try to explain to him over here. So this is the thing. It's the same thing every time. Brother Nephilimfree, if you're listening, my brother, you were absolutely right. It's what the atheists always do. doing the same thing here. The funny thing is wait a second, he's calling but the Nephilimfree dishonest, as if an atheist calling us dishonest. See, at this very statement now, I'm saying this to you too, Steve, but if you were now in front of people in the university, I would first of all ask them that how can he even use the word dishonest towards a Christian? How's that even possible? Because when he's saying he's dishonest, he basically means I'm not in agreement with the secular scientific community, but the point is they are the ones in question. So you see how circular that is? Because his standard of reference for honesty, you see, according to an atheist, honesty is determined by the big shots in the scientific community. But the problem is, are they gods? They're not gods, right? So why would I trust them? They don't, I mean, why would I trust somebody who does not speak in the name of God? Now remember, I said, just because somebody speaks in the name of God doesn't mean that he is honest. But if one doesn't speak in the name of God, then we must presuppose dishonesty to begin with, right? If one speaks with God denial, then even more so. And this has been proven time and time again throughout history, right? This is why those communist areas uh, uh, were all atheistic. You see, who built the West? Let's get back to root cause. Was it atheists or was it Christians? Well, obviously it was Christians. We all know that, right? The Christians built the West and shaped the West with all its beauty, the scientific method, and what have you. Atheists just hijacked that. They came from communist nations. Some of them, others who came from Christian families then adopted their style of thinking. Many even adopted communistic ideas. We see many atheists, adopting communistic ideas. And this is how, unfortunately, this whole system started to, you know, this false and filthy and deceptive, uh, and demonic way of thinking arose again in the West and is now taking over. But like I said, I mean, creationists are working hard and it is effective. I'm a perfect example of a former evolutionist, of a former scientist. Actually, I believe that the scientific community should rule the entire planet. That is how fanatic I was. And now I want to tear the same down. Now I will tear down the same Eiffel Tower whose feet I once used to kiss. God bless.